Well, unfortunately, there's no way to avoid vocabulary. Vocabulary is really important because it's the only skill that improves your listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So the best way we can approach vocabulary is not just from a memorization point of view, but also from learning in context, giving students access to graded readers. And in this way, that makes vocabulary, I wouldn't say exactly fun, but it makes it a lot more manageable than just rote memorization. But I think students should all understand that as vocabulary is the very building blocks of English, it's unavoidable and it's really, really important to address. Well, I think it's really important for all students to understand that English is a skill. And by skill, I mean that English has more in common with something like playing the piano and playing basketball than it does traditional subjects like physics or chemistry. And with any skill, you actually have to use it. And so in terms of English language learning, that means using English in class discussions, in debate, using English outside the classroom, using English in CCAs. As much as possible, use English, practice that skill, and you'll find that over time you get better and better. Well, all three stages are extremely important. When we start at primary school, I think the key is vocabulary, grammar, and most importantly, building confidence. That's really important for children at primary school age. When kids progress into middle school, it's really important that they start to use that language more effectively, and we'll give students a lot more opportunities either through drama, CCAs, class discussions to use English, and they become more proficient in that. And then when students get to high school, obviously they're dealing with international standardized tests, whether it be AP, A-level, IELTS, TOEFL. It's really important to overcome those obstacles. And obviously the big aim is in the future, when those students study abroad, they'll be able to get used to life and study overseas. It's a great question, and I think it's a really important question. We always encourage students to use English as much as possible in the classroom, but perhaps even more importantly, using English outside the classroom. We have over 160 co-curricular activities here, and most of those give students an opportunity to use and practice their English. It could be Model UN, it could be debate, but even things like sport and music, they're collaborating, communicating, using English. And so outside that classroom, even at home, even with yourself, I think it's really important to use English as much as possible. Well, I think that's a really good question, again, and I think a lot of students are very keen to ask this question to me on a regular basis. I think it's important to acknowledge the importance of AI in our world today. AI has changed our world in good ways and in bad ways, whether it's education, business, medicine, and AI isn't going anywhere. However, I think it's really important that we still learn languages. We cannot avoid the importance of the human connection. And so whether it's student-teacher connection, whether it's doing business with people from other countries, we are never going to escape the importance of that human connection. And so language learning definitely has a part to play in our world, and in my opinion, it's an extremely important part. Well, first of all, it's really important that students do have a holiday. I know as an educator, I need a holiday and I'm desperate for that holiday, so I don't want to deny any holiday for the students. Having said that, a month off school is a long time. The students have made a huge amount of progress in semester one, and I want them to keep up that momentum. So what I would suggest is that every student sets themselves a realistic goal at the start of the holiday, and at occasional times throughout the holiday, they can work towards that goal throughout February. And when they come back in March, they'll be fighting fit, ready to go for semester two.